For many days now, only heightened by the developments and the brutality that has taken place at the Galwan Valley, we've been discussing what we must do as a people to eliminate our biggest weakness on China. And that's the $60 billion they leech out of this country in foreign exchange with the trade surplus that they enjoy. The number of companies that they skim profits from within India, the number of mobile apps that they skim data from within India. This is the biggest weakness, not the courage and resolve of our soldiers on the front lines. If we don't deal with this, all the sacrifices on the borderlines will be nigh meaningless, because we, as the people of India, would have failed in our duty. We've been talking about it. Now we need to figure out how to actionalize it. What must we do to get this done? We're going to have that conversation tonight. But before that, let me quickly address developments that have taken place late this evening here in India. We've been told from our sources that the Indian Air Force is now seeking an emergency procurement deal of 33 aircraft from Russia. This is to include 12 new Sukhois and 21 MiG-29s. There is going to be a very interesting meeting coming up in just a few days on the 23rd, which is a trilateral between Russia, India and China. And the Russians, which are in a very clear alliance with the Chinese right now, will have to quickly decide whether they want to be selling planes to India. And we as India needs to quickly decide that while we are purchasing the Rafale from France, should we also be purchasing from Russia, which has a historical history now of selling to both sides. The same S-400 they're selling you, the same details of the S-400 they've already given to China. Let me quickly address this issue. Joining us on the broadcast, I am Major General Dhruv Katoch, Professor Madhav Nalapat, Sumit Peer. Gentlemen, let me start with you. General Katoch, obviously, we've been having these debates on squadron strength for a very, very long period of time. Good time to buy aircraft, but a good time to buy aircraft from Russia?
Actually, I think it's a question of timing, because the way I look at it is the Indian Air Force has recommended the purchase of the Sukhois and the MiG-20 and the MiG-29, because I presume they will be available in a faster time frame. And if you get these aircraft, especially the Sukhois, this is something which can be used very effectively over the Tibetan Plateau. The Rafales, of course, will be very, very effective over the Tibetan Plateau. And any conflict which we have with China, I think the criticality has to be the Indian Air Force. So, in my view, in my personal opinion, I think Rafales would have been a better bet to have continued with that. But I don't visualize getting that many additional aircraft in the time frame in which it is required. So I think as we already have Sukhois and the MiG-29s, I think that is a very fair bet.
Okay, what do you make of this, Professor Nalapat? I know you are not a big fan of the S-400 deal. Now looking to the Russians for more aircraft in quick time?
Look, I can only say, I don't know when the Force gave this order for procurement, whether it's after the recent developments or not. I simply want to say the Chinese have ample knowledge of both the Sukhoi as well as the MiG-29. They know exactly how this aircraft flies, what the parameters are, and therefore they can design systems that are designed to ensure that they put up a very good show against these aircraft. I agree with the General that it would have been better to have aircraft that the Chinese don't have and the Pakistanis don't have. Many American aircraft the Pakistanis have, like the F-16, that also will be useless. But the Pakistanis have shared all the secrets of America with the Chinese. That's why Chinese love them so much, part of the reason. So I would say, yes, I don't think that we should buy aircraft from any country that the Chinese also have or the Pakistanis have, because then they would have worked out how to deal with these aircraft. So this is my view.
Okay, what is your taking, Professor Nalapat, on the Russian thinking now of selling these aircraft? Will they be thrilled that if this deal goes, it's a proposal right now, that if it goes through the official levels and actually reaches Moscow, will they be thrilled at the foreign exchange, or do they have to mull that in the time of their alliance with China, they're arming India?
Well, Rishabh, to the best of my knowledge, there was a Sukhoi facility in HAL.
Correct.
And which I'm told is shutting down. And I mean, in that case, if we need more Sukhois, why have we shut it down? And then what are we going to replace it with in Nashik? I hope we're not going to convert that first-class aircraft manufacturing center of HAL into a ghost town. So my only point is, why was it shut down then if we need this aircraft so badly? I can say, in my view, it is better to buy an aircraft that the Chinese have no knowledge of and which can surprise them, and not an aircraft which they have complete knowledge of, which have been flying in the Air Force for a very long time, including very advanced models. Both these aircraft have been flying with the Chinese for a very long time.
Okay, Sumit, just quickly come into this on the same thought before I get back to our topic of discussion. We have 3 Rafales ready, 4 more are coming. Okay, so 7. Right. Now, the French have a particular capacity of how many Rafales they can manufacture in a year. They can't come up with 20 if you need them ASAP. They promise to keep up the supply of the Rafales on time despite the pandemic that's happened, but they're only going to be able to do a few a year. We need the aircraft, Russian aircraft. We know of the dealings between Russia and China right now.
You see, Rishabh, I think what you see right now is what is happening vis-a-vis in Ladakh, because this is a very, very urgent need which has come up. And Sukhoi is a good aircraft. Obviously, Rafale is better, but Sukhoi is not a bad aircraft, it's a good aircraft. We have 2 advantages vis-a-vis Sukhoi. We have the people who can run it, we have the people who can maintain it. We have a reasonably good MRO facility existing in India, and we have reasonably good amount of space which are lying with India. And Sukhoi is possibly the only aircraft which can be shipped to India in the shortest possible time if you look at all the competitors available. So it's a deal, or it's designed to address the current challenges what India is facing vis-a-vis China. One more point, Rishabh. If you look at the Chinese Armada, a lot of it is comprised of J-12s. And we know J-12s are not capable of flying over the Tibetan plateau because of the engine what they use. So J-12 is basically LCA. So if you have Sukhois at this point of time, if Russians can deliver it fast, it would be good for us. And it will be also what you said, let's stress the Russian resolve.
Okay.
The problem with Russia, one last one, the problem with Russia is 83% of its GDP runs on the export of weapons and oil. So if anybody wants to buy weapons and oil from Russia,
they'll sell it. But here's the onion, and the same onion we have with the S-400. General Kato, just quickly comment on this thought before I move on. The onion is this. Now, we have activated the BrahMos cruise missile. That's officially activated now, which is an important part of your arsenal that can do deep strikes without risking not even the life of a pilot. But the BrahMos missile has again been co-jointly developed with the Russians. Now, there is a risk assessment that we have to now reimagine. If the Russians are indeed working closely with the Chinese, how do we do these kind of risk assessments? Because we are entangled so deep into so many Russian systems.
No, you see, let me put it this way. Right since the 50s, we have been buying most of our equipment from the Russians. This is historical. And even today, a very vast quantity of our major defense equipment is Russian equipment, or Soviet equipment, we can call it. Now, the BrahMos, when we look at the BrahMos missile, I think this is one of the best missile systems developed in the world. And it is an Indian product, obviously an Indian and Russian product. Now, I think what we need to do really is which way Russia will behave. I think Russia is going to look after its own interests. I don't see the Russians getting into the Chinese camp. That I'm very certain. Right. Russia will not play second fiddle to China. In fact, I have seen many Russian analysts, they are feeling very disturbed that whenever the international views are being discussed, the major powers are being discussed, the talk is only on the United States and China. And then the Russians ask, what about us? So they have been, in my view...
Well, but maybe they should be worrying about all the deals that they're signing off with the Chinese and wondering whether they are paying second fiddle or not. Okay, quickly, sir. There is an RIC meeting coming up on the 23rd. It's going to be an awkward meeting, to say the least.
Yes, it's going to be an awkward meeting, but I think if the Air Force has actually put in its bid for these particular aircraft, then they would have got their reasons correctly.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, quick.
I personally feel it's a time problem.
Okay, quick thought, Professor Nalapat. RIC meeting coming up on the 23rd. It's coming under very complicated situation. Now, do we go and obviously hold China to account there in a few days' time, where you'll have a Chinese foreign minister, the Indian foreign minister, and the Russian foreign minister together in this video conference?
Well, in my view, it is important to test friendships, and if I do believe, Minister Jaishankar should be very blunt and frank, and he should tell exactly what the Chinese have done, which is basically break every single agreement. China seems to believe that they are back to 1949. And essentially, they can break any agreement and sign new agreements. When Mao took charge, he said all the old agreements are waste paper. And he said all will have to have new agreements. And now in 2020, not only 2020, for the last 7 or 8 years, they're adopting the same attitude as Mao, that this is a new China and we can break every agreement. I think Minister Jaishankar has to be very firm, and then we'll have to see the response of the Russian foreign minister. And I think that will be the best judge of how strongly the Russians will stand with us or not. It is a good thing to go and speak very frankly. The Prime Minister spoke very frankly to the Chief Ministers. He didn't mince words. Mr. Jaishankar spoke very frankly to Wang Yi. He didn't mince words. He should not mince words in the RIC meeting.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.